Who That Nation. What it do is the one and only Who That Davis here for you. You guys know what it is. You guys don't know. Hey, you will know. Over here, we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. Hey, thank you guys for joining me for today's edition of the B&G Breakdown Podcast. But before we get down with the breakdown, once again, a special shout out to every single person who checks out my lives, checks out my content, because you guys know I would not be where I am today if not from the support from all of my fans, all of my supporters, all of my content watchers. You guys know what it is. Any moniker that describes you, you're probably in that category. So thank you guys so much. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been awesome. But we still have a lot of growing to do. For starters, the original software that I was using to create videos other than live streams, it's gotten a little complicated. So I am searching for another video editing software to record my videos on. If you guys know of any softwares out there that I can record my videos on, because I used to use Streamlabs OBS, but unfortunately Streamlabs OBS had some complications going on, and every time I try to record a video, it comes out like very staticky because I'm very, it has like an echo chamber. Very, 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 very frustrating. So I want to try branching out to other softwares out there. If you guys know of any, let me know in the comment section, or let me know of any DMs on my social media, and I will check them out. Preferably something that doesn't require me to pay too much money. I don't mind paying a monthly thing for it if need be, but the cheaper the better, so I can get these videos out as quickly as possible. Secondly, I will be doing special guest of the week again. That will be determined when exactly, but special guest of the week is making a comeback. I know it's short-lived on the first run, but due to content and IRL reasons, but we're in a better spot now. So if you guys want to be a special guest of the week, all you got to do is make sure you're following me not only on my YouTube, but one of my other social media. What other social media? Well, all those things are down in the description below. Make sure you're following one of those other platforms along with my YouTube channel, so you can be entered into a raffle. Or when I do I pick a name through a randomizer, and if you get chosen, you get to come on during a live stream as my special co-host of that day, special co-host of the week, and we get to talk about anything, whether it be Saints football or football in general, basketball, wrestling, anime. Hey, that's my favorite anime. Or anything else you want to talk about. That day is specifically for you as my way of showing thank you, or thanks to you guys for sticking with me throughout this journey as we try to grow beyond 1.33K. And I still want to see that number increase. So I do know I need to put out more content to really earn your subscriptions. But I need you guys to help me out. If you guys know of any Saints fans, non-Saints fans that love to support like small timers like me, then make sure you hit that share button. Make sure you share me around to your fellow friends. Get them in here. Let's grow our little community. It'll be a very, very big blessing. If you guys are watching Hoodie Juice channel, or you're planning to watch TJ Jones's channel, then that's fine too. This will be here afterwards for you guys. It's no big deal. So let's do all that and make sure we grow. Make sure we stay on schedule. And speaking of schedule, I will keep this brief for right now because I'm feeling a little sinusy. But let's keep this brief, semi-brief, and let's talk about this schedule for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have officially had their schedule for 2022 released. It is wow. I don't even know what to make of it. For starters, the Saints are opening up their 2022 NFL season with going on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons, their arch nemesis. The Atlanta Falcons will be played as a season opener at noon. So at noon, that will be on the road, or that's practically our vacation home because we own the Atlanta Falcons. But that's not an easy game as many will suggest. Now, I still believe that the Saints will pick up a W, right? And there's no better way to start off your comeback as potential comeback player for the year, if you're Michael Thomas or if you're Jameis Winston, than getting a W in the stadium of your arch rival. The Atlanta Falcons are very, very weak right now. They don't have Tajay Sharp anymore. They don't have Russell Gage, their leading receiver from last year. He is now with Tampa Bay. Their offense is looking kind of stymied with just Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, a rookie receiver coming in this year. It's going to take some time for him to get his feet underneath them. And the biggest headline for the Falcons, they no longer have Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was traded to the Indianapolis Colts because of Deshaun Watson controversy / drama that hit the Atlanta Falcons over the offseason. And they ended up not getting him, and they ruffled feathers with Matt Ryan to the point of no return. Matt Ryan later on went on record to say that if they had not chosen to pursue Deshaun Watson, he would most likely still be with the Atlanta Falcons. And that's very advantageous for the Saints, who are bringing back a top 10 defense, a top 5 scoring defense, and they have improved significantly on the offense, from drafting Chris Olave to Michael Thomas potentially coming back so healthy this year. And they didn't have him last year, with Jameis Winston being hungry, having something to prove. This is going to be a statement game for the offense, especially. We already know what the defense is going to do. We know what the special teams is going to do. But the offense has to come out, and they have to put their foots down on the neck of their arch rival to really make a claim for the NFC South. Now let's go on to week 2, September 18th. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to be at home versus Tampa week 2, again at noon. Okay, that's again at noon. That is going to be, I will say the Tampa Bay Bucs win this game. I will say that because the Saints have not won 2 straight since 2013. It has been a while since the Saints have won 2 straight. I don't know if that will be broken this year, but anything is possible. I want to believe in this team, but I will go on right now to say the Saints lose at home against the Bucs in a last minute finisher, game-winning field goal for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Now, I want to be wrong here. I really want to be wrong, because from how this is lined up over the first 5 weeks, including the London game in week 4 against the Minnesota Vikings, the Saints have a chance to go 5-0, but they have a lot of factors go into this, from injuries going from week to week to how Dennis Allen approaches the games. And so many things need to fall in place for the New Orleans Saints as a whole to come away 5-0, even after the week 4 game in London, England. Now, Tampa is going to be without Chris Godwin week 2 because he is still rehabbing from his ACL injury against the Saints, towards the second half of last year. Tom Brady is going to be 45 going into this game. They don't have the same O-line as before. I do believe they're going to be weaker. At this point, they still do not have Rob Gronkowski. So we don't know for sure if Rob Gronkowski is going to be on this roster, but they did draft a tight end, and they did draft a new defensive tackle, potentially to replace Ndamukong Suh, who has yet to be re-signed to the Tampa Bay defensive line. There's so much here that needs to be factored in, like I said, from the Saints side more than the Bucs side. But I do believe Tom Brady finally gets a regular season win over the Saints, but it won't mean much down the road. Now, what about week 3? Yep, it's another NFC South rival, the Carolina Panthers. So for the first 3 weeks, the Saints have to run the gauntlet against their divisional rivals, and the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now the Carolina Panthers week 3 on the road. That is, again, a noon game. That is a noon game played at Carolina. I believe they're going to get a W here. The Carolina Panthers do not scare me whatsoever. I don't care if J.C. Horn is going to be making a comeback. I do not care who they have on the offensive line and Ikeme Ekwonu. I don't care who that guy is. They do not have a good quarterback on their roster to compete with the Saints defense, who I believe is going to be coming in mostly healthy, if not fully healthy in that game. They do not have a good head coach, because I do not like Matt Rule for their head coach. I've said this time and time again. The Panthers are going to take an L at home in their stadium against the New Orleans Saints, and they will improve to 2-1. And that is a good start for the first 3 weeks before you go overseas in London to play the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are week 4. That is going to be 8:30 a.m. an 8:30 a.m. game. So 8:30 in the morning, the Saints will be playing the Minnesota Vikings, and I believe the Saints are going to come away with a W here. The defense for the Minnesota Vikings is going to be pretty suspect, especially when it comes to the passing game. I believe Chris Olave is going to have his first breakout game against the Minnesota Vikings. With that being said, because of how suspect they are in their secondary. Now, the run game is a little different. We don't know what the run game is going to be looking like. It's probably going to be a little suspect because of the fact that Alvin Kamara is most likely going to be facing a suspension through the first 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 games for their offseason issues that suffered during a Pro Bowl weekend in Las Vegas. But I do believe the Saints do enough to get the W on the road in London against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not too scared of this team. The Vikings have not been much of a problem for the Saints since 2017. I don't believe it. 2019 when they ended the Saints season in the wild card round. But I'm not scared of this team. Saints get the W. They improve to 3-1. Now, week 5. Week 5, they come back home and they play the Seattle Seahawks. Easy W there. Not much needed to be said here. The Seattle Seahawks are in a rebuild mode. They have no good quarterback from Geno Smith to Drew Lock. They have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but Tyler Lockett got locked down by a now second-year corner in our Paulson Adebo. So I'm not too worried about the Seattle Seahawks and what they have going on. I don't believe in Drew Lock. I don't believe in Geno Smith. I don't believe in their run game. I don't believe in their offensive line, even though they have addressed it in the draft this year. Shout out to Pete Carroll for finally doing the right thing, even though he waited a year too late because now Russell Wilson is now with the Denver Broncos. But it is what it is there. The Saints get the W here against the Seattle Seahawks. They improve to 4-1. Now, week 6, this is a game that everyone in New Orleans is going to be talking about for a good reason. Because week 6, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be coming to the Bay Area, the Bayou, to take on our New Orleans Saints. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, those boys are coming home to play the Saints in a Caesars Superdome at 12 CT. So for the last, I would say, 5 weeks minus the week 4 game, there's going to be noon games. The Cincinnati Bengals and New Orleans Saints, that's going to be a must-see game. That is going to be a must-see game. I expected this one to be a primetime game around 4:25 at the very least, or game of the week because of everything, all the storylines surrounding it. But it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, those guys coming back home. LSU fans are going to rejoice in this game until the game actually starts, and then they're going to be booing the heck out of them, and I expect that. But it's going to be a fun game. I'm going to see a lot of points scored, a lot of interesting matchups in this game, week 6. Jamar Chase versus Marshawn Lattimore, T. Higgins versus Paulson Adebo / Bradley Roby. The tight ends for the Cincinnati Bengals aren't good as they once were because they now have lost C.J. Uzomah, who is now with the New York Jets. Meanwhile, the Saints are going to be up against Eli Apple and their Bengals secondary. And you know that Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, whoever is lined up across from Eli Apple is going to have a field day. And the memes are going to roll if you are on Saints Twitter. That is going to be a fun game. But I do believe the Saints are going to lose this game because they don't have a lot of good firepower in comparison to Joe Burrow, in comparison to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, these type of tats. Even Tyler Boyd playing from the slot. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to have his work cut out for him there. Even though Boyd is a little older, I do believe C.D. Deuce is going to have an easier time going step for step, stride for stride with Tyler Boyd. But I do believe that the playmaking ability of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is going to show its head against the New Orleans secondary, who I believe is going to come in a little banged up in this game. It's going to be a close one, but I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning here, and the Saints fall to 5-2. I do believe they're going to be a game ahead of the Tampa Bay Bucks in the NFC South still. So they'll still be number 1 in the NFC South, at least by a game, maybe even at the very least a half a game ahead after the first 6 weeks. It's still a good thing. So we're still cruising here. They were going to go on the road week 7. Keep in mind, week 7 against the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to be their first primetime game of the regular season. Week 7, Cardinals. 7:15 is going to be a Thursday night football game. Thursday night against the Cardinals. I do believe the Saints are going to pick up a W here, even though that is going to be the game that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be coming back from his suspension. If you guys haven't been following along with what's been happening with DeAndre Hopkins in the Arizona Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins has been suspended for 6 games due to illegal substance, kind of like what our David Onyemata was suspended for last year for 6 games. So that would be the interesting one. D-Hop versus Marshall Lattimore. Haven't seen that one since 2019, and they went back and forth. It was a battle. But I do believe the Saints get the W here. I don't trust what they got going on offensively other than DeAndre Hopkins. They do have Zach Ertz. I'll give him that. But we have a younger, a faster, a smarter, not would say smarter, but equally smart, strong safety and linebacker to guard Zach Ertz when it comes to the passing game. That being Demario Davis or Pete Werner, whoever the case may be, or if he's looking at the strong safety, then Tyrann Mathieu. I do believe the Saints get the W here. I think the Arizona Cardinals defense is going to be a little suspect. Their pass rush is a little different. Their pass rush is pretty decent, even if they don't have Chandler Jones anymore. But I do believe they're going to get the W here either way. The Saints are going to improve to 6, and I would say, I would say 5-2 after 7 weeks. 5-2 after 7 weeks, not a bad thing. Okay, not a bad thing. 5-2 after 7 weeks. Week 8, the Saints have another Halloween game on their hands. Week 8, they're going to be at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders are coming to the New Orleans Bay Area to take on our beloved Saints. We need to get back against this Raiders team from 2020, but this is not going to be the same Raiders team, right? This is going to be a more passing efficient, a more explosive Las Vegas Raiders offense they're going up against. Not just for the fact that they have Darren Waller, who single-handedly picked apart our Saints secondary the last time they met up. They do have Hunter Renfrow, and they now have Devontae Adams, who is now with the Raiders. He left the Green Bay Packers to be with his buddy from college and Derek Carr to be with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the defense is I would say just above average. So the Saints have their toughest matchup yet. I think the Saints are going to lose this game against the Las Vegas Raiders because of what, they got going on there. So we got 6-3 right now against the Las Vegas Raiders after 8 weeks. So let's recap what we have so far. We have a W with the Falcons. We have a loss handed to us by the Buccaneers, go 1-1. 2-1 so far with a win against the Panthers is 2-1. Week 4 against the Vikings, we got another W, so they proved to 3-1. Week 5 against the Seattle Seahawks, they've improved to 4-1. Week 6. Sorry, what is going on here with this list? Week 1, W. Week 2, L, 1-1. Week 3, Panthers, 2-1. Week 4, Vikings, W, 3-1. Week 5, Seattle Seahawks, W, 4-1. Week 6, Bengals, L, 4-2. Week 7, Cardinals. I will say a W. So 5-2. Week 8, the Raiders. And L, they will improve after 8 weeks. I would say 6-3. I'll let you guys be handle that. I think I lost my place. Dyslexia. Anyway, continuing on from week 9 onward. All right. So week 9, we've got the Baltimore Ravens, a Monday Night Football game. The Baltimore Ravens coming home to the Bay Area. I won't say coming home. They're coming on the road against the Saints. I have them winning against Lamar Jackson. I think they're going to be better against the RPO style that they run there in Baltimore, and that's going to really set up the game against the Eagles, which is much later in the year. But I do believe they're going to have a W against the Ravens because I don't think they're going to be as dynamic as the Eagles were when they ran the RPOs, and their passing game isn't much to speak of. I think the Ravens lose. So Saints get a W there. Week 10 against the Steelers, W. I'm not worried about their offense, even though they have Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson there. But their quarterback situation is, I wouldn't say as great. And their offensive line hasn't been much improved. But their defense, led by T.J. Watt on the defensive line, that pass rush is going to be deadly. That Saints O-line, if it's healthy, will be, I would say, okay, but they will have to get the ball out of their hands quick and efficient to really combat what the Steelers do defensively. It's a really strong team on that side of the ball. But I think the Saints win in a low-scoring game here. And then week 11 against the Rams, I'll give that one to the Rams. Even though I don't like them, I'll give that one to them. So the Saints come away with the L, and then they're going to go on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. The Saints pick up a W in San Francisco against the 49ers mainly because of their quarterback situation. We won't know until the start of the regular season who's going to be starting for the 49ers. It could be Trey Lance as originally reported, or it could be Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't know yet. But I'm not too scared of this team. Even if they got George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, I don't care. They get the W there. The Saints go to week 13, December 5th, and they go against the Buccaneers, this time on the road. That's going to be another Monday night football game. I believe the Saints get their lick back against the Bucs later on in this season, and they get a W. They get a W this time because the Saints have always had success when it comes to playing in R&J Stadium against the Bucs especially. I believe the Saints get the W here. So they split 1-1 for the year. It's not a bad thing. And then they finally have their bye week. The Saints don't get a bye week until week 14, guys. That is a long, long time. But I am in favor of the late bye week as opposed to an early bye week because you can, mainly because the Saints can get their guys back and, they can substitute players, whatever the case may be. They'll be healthier during this last stretch of games where they're potentially vying for a playoff spot, right? So I believe this will be a prime position for the New Orleans Saints in terms of the bye week. And once they come out of the bye, they go back home against the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to lose here. The Saints sweep the Falcons. I just don't believe in their team this year. Next year is a different story, but I do believe the Saints beat the Falcons. They sweep them this year. The time for this game still to be determined. So we'll see what happens there. Well, week 16, December 24th, this is the Christmas game, or day before Christmas game, they go on the road to Cleveland at 12. It's going to be a Saturday game for what it's saying here, but we don't know that yet. That's still to be determined in my opinion. But for right now, it's saying it's going to be a Saturday game, December 24th, and on the road at Cleveland. I think the Saints are going to pick up a W against the Browns. Even though it's going to be in colder weather conditions, it's going to be a little freezing around this time. I think the Saints have proven that they are able to go on the road in any condition and play any team. Most likely, Deshaun Watson will be starting this game. I'm not scared of Deshaun Watson. We've beaten him before. We'll beat him again. They have Amari Cooper. They have Donovan Peoples-Jones. They don't have Jarvis Landry anymore. They have, some decent tight ends. I'm not worried about this team whatsoever. So it is what it is. But the run game, nah. Not worried about the run game. Saints get a W here against the Browns. The Eagles, I'll say that they win. Mainly because it will depend on how they play the Baltimore Ravens. I'll say that much. The game against the Eagles on the road will very much depend on how the Saints handle the Baltimore Ravens RPO game. RPO run game, an RPO game against the Ravens in week 9 will very much determine how they play the Eagles in week 17. So they lose to the Ravens, but if they give a good showing and they keep it close, I think they'll learn from that and carry it over to the Eagles, who have given them fits over the last 2 seasons. But for right now, I'll say that they finally break the losing streak against the Eagles, week 17, and then week 18, I'll say the Panthers get a W because the Saints are most likely going to be in the playoffs around this time, and they're going to rest their starters. I would say the Panthers win here because this game won't really much matter. You're in the playoffs already. You've already clinched. There's no need for you to risk injury to your starters before the start of the postseason. So the Panthers win against our backups, our second strings, our third strings, so on and so forth. So let's go over what we have so far. We got a W at the Falcons week 1. All right. We got an L hung on us by the Buccaneers at home. Okay, that's a 1-1. Week 3 against the Panthers. That'll be a 2-1 start after the first 3 weeks. Week 4 against the Vikings in London will be a W. That will be 3-1 after the first 4 weeks. Week 5 against the Seahawks, that will be 4-1 after the first 5 weeks. Week 6 against the Bengals, that will be a L. I believe their offense is more explosive than the Saints' offense will be this season, but it will be a close game. I think they're going to hang an L, so that will be a 4-2 after the first 6 weeks. All right, 4-2. Week 7 against the Cardinals, a W. That will be a 5-2 start. Week 8 against the Raiders, I believe we're going to pay an L because their offense is more explosive than ours. Right? So I believe it'll be 5-3. 5-3. Week 9 against the Ravens, going to be a W. I will say that. So 6-3. Steelers W, 7-3. Rams L, 7-4. 49ers W. So they will be 9. I would say 9-3. 9-3, not bad. Buccaneers W, 10-3. Bye week, you're going to the bye week at 10-3. Falcons W, 11-3. Browns 12-3. Eagles W, 13-3. The Saints come away. They're ceiling, I would say 14-3. They're ceiling 14-3, and I would say their floor will be 10-7. Because the Saints have a history of losing games they should not. Right? So I would say, it is what it is. 1 second. Gotta stay hydrated. But if you guys have noticed from this list, if you guys haven't already, there's only 3 primetime games for the Saints this year. 3. That tells you that the NFL doesn't believe the Saints to be a playoff contending team. The headline for the Saints has always been, what are they going to look like post Sean Payton? Now, to an extended reason, I can see what they're talking about, but this Saints team has been through adversity after adversity after adversity. I think the Saints are going to get the W regardless. They're going to make the postseason. Now, what they do in the playoffs remains to be seen. I won't say that. But this works out well for the Saints. For the most part, most of their games are going to be played at noon. And add that to the fact that the NFL at least tried to give the Saints some rest days in between their long travel schedule. I think the Saints, this is probably the best. I think this is the best situation the Saints could possibly hope to find themselves in, given their strength of schedule. The Saints are ranked number 8 in terms of hardest schedule. They have the 8th hardest schedule in the NFL going into 2022, but it doesn't really matter to them. Right? We got some dogs on our defense. They got some hungry guys on our offense. The special teams is going to be flipping fields consistently. I believe the Saints team is going to prove a lot of doubters wrong. A lot of doubters wrong, from Stephen A to maybe Max. It doesn't matter who is doubting us. Shannon Sharp believes that the Bucs are going to sweep the Saints because Daniel Sorensen is on our team. Man, Daniel Sorensen is not going to touch our defense. Not going to touch our defense. But I want to hear from you guys. Let's read a couple comments here. We're then going to go because, I got sinuses, so not the most healthy right now, but I will read a couple comments, and then we're going to get up out of here. I apologize for this being relatively short. I'm still got to take my meds and then take a nap and make sure I rest up for what's to come this weekend. We got Slim South 504 saying 12-5. I think that's a fairly reasonable one. I think the Saints lose some games that they should win. That's what they always do, and it's always frustrating. 12-5, I say that's around there. Jerry OG Triple OG says 16-1 or 15-2 or 14-3 or 13-4. Okay, OG. So your ceiling is 16-1 and your floor is 12-5. Okay, that makes sense. So that makes sense. Anywhere in between that will be your range. I think that's fair. I do believe that is fair. Hey, give my man Hoodie Jew my regards. Give Hoodie Jew my regards. I'll watch the stream after this, even for a little bit. Dada says he's 12-5. That's fair. What's up, Mr. Derek, what's going on, Derek? Good to see you, buddy. He also says, if we split any division games, it definitely won't be a loss at home. I think that'll be fair, but you never know. I think that one will really depend on if the Saints want to rest their starters before making the postseason. Because I do believe the Saints are a postseason team. When they went 13-3 and clinched the number 1 seed back in 2018, they rested their starters, even though they had to play the Panthers at home. You know what I mean? And the Panthers won that game, but it didn't really matter. So it really depends on what the Saints situation is like before that season-ending game. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and read down a little more. I'm a little late. Go over it again. I think I went over it again. What should take from all the teams? I think the toughest games are going to be against Cincinnati. Oh, man, this sinus suck. I do believe the Cincinnati game is going to be one of the hardest ones. I think the game that might sneak up on the Saints is the Las Vegas Raiders game. I think the Las Vegas Raiders game is going to sneak up on them. A shocking victory would be against the Rams. I think the Rams win. I think a Rams win would be a shocking one because the Saints might go into that game a little bit limpy due to injury, unless the new strength and conditioning coach proves me wrong and he keeps these guys healthy. The Saints going to be W. Rudy, what's going on, man? What's up? Yeah, I'm just drinking water. Make sure I keep up on my hydration. You know what I mean? Sinuses. Stuffy day. Rose City, you heard? What's going on, man? I heard you, bro. Good to see you, man. I hope you're having a good day. Official Young Noah says we probably wash the Bucks again. I hope. Like that would be the optimistic thing. But the Saints will have to prove to me that they can go 2-0 again. They haven't gone 2-0 since I believe 2013. And nothing said anything about me being, Traquan Smith season 12-5. I do believe in the 12-5, but I'm not a believer in Traquan Smith. I think his time in New Orleans is up. I think one of our unproven rookies will give Traquan Smith a run for his money. All they need to do is show that they could be a better run blocker than Smith can. I think Dejon Dixon could make a decent splash. Maybe, some other guys that we have. I still don't believe in Traquan Smith. I really don't. And if we end up signing another free agent wide receiver like Jarvis Landry, then Smith's going to be out the door. I really do believe he's going to be on practice squad. Official Young Noah says 13-4. Hey, 13-4, I think that would be in contention for the number 1 seed. First time Saints put division rivals in 3 weeks to open up the season. Yep, first time in Saints history. You're right about that. That's going to be interesting. I think, like the New Orleans Breakers this year in the USFL, after their win against the Philadelphia Stars, they had to play their South Division opponents back to back, and they came away 2-1 out of that 3-game stretch. So we're seeing a pattern here. So maybe they're taking some inspiration from USFL early on. That's not a bad thing. But it'll be very interesting. It'll be a really rough stretch. Bro, we're not losing a lot of games. We could. I mean, we just don't know yet. Olave already took Smith's spot. Yeah, he's already number 2, but for right now, Smith is still number 3 unless one of our other guys proves to Dennis Allen and company that they can be more of a contributor to Traquan Smith. Because Smith's only here on like a 2-year deal that's not really going to be worth a damn after this year is over. So CMC might be hurt week 1. It's quite possible. Depending on what his hamstring is like. But that'll be interesting. In my final statements, look, the NFL can do what they want. The NFL can say that they don't believe the Saints. The media can say that the Saints think they're a playoff team, but the Saints are a playoff team. Now, whether they're a Super Bowl contender, we'll discuss that for another video. But the NFC is going to be as weak as it's ever going to be from now until however long. The NFC is right for the taking for the New Orleans Saints. They are bringing back a top 10 defense. Their offense is improving from the wide receivers to maybe finally seeing some Adam Trautman breakouts to the running back situation improving before the start of the regular season. Maybe Abram Smith, the undrafted guy from Baylor, makes an impact. We don't know yet. The offensive line, maybe Cesar Ruiz finally stops giving up free rushes to the quarterback. Jameis Winston's going to be hungry. He's already shown during the offseason that he is hungry, even going to becoming back even better than he was last year. So think about this. Jameis Winston went 14-3 into the touchdown to interception ratio. He was putting up top 5 QB numbers after the first 7 games before he went down to injury. And you mean to tell me that he can't come back better? You mean to tell me that there's going to be question marks on whether or not he's going to be healthy for the start of the season? Is that what these media heads are trying to tell us? Come on, man. The Saints are going to be just fine. And if we get Michael Thomas back healthy, which is looking like it's going to be the case, look, Michael Thomas, he's hungry. MT is hungry. He wants to get back out on that field. He wants to prove to everybody that he is still the dog in the NFL. He is still the dog to be in the NFL. Devontae Adams has had a good little 2-year stretch, but he had to keep that seat warm for a big can't guard Mike. And a little teaser for you guys. On Twitter, Michael Thomas teased the possibility of gaining his number 3 jersey from Will Lutz in a trade. They teased swapping jerseys going into this year. If you guys don't know why that's a big deal, Michael Thomas wore number 3 when he played for Ohio State, and Will Lutz wore number 13 when he was in high school for his Panthers. So seeing that jersey swap for those boys, that would be interesting. I would love to see it. MT3, Big Nuts 13. Hey, look, I'll be down for it. What do you guys think? I know I have my Michael Thomas 13 jersey, but I don't mind buying another jersey for the number 3 if he does make that swap. But what about you guys? Do you want to see Michael Thomas rock the number 3 jersey from his time in Ohio State? I certainly wouldn't mind it. I'm pretty sure Chris Olave would get some inspiration from it. So that'll be really, really interesting. That'll be really interesting. I will say official young Nola, they are doubting him because he has not played a full season since 2019. We're going into 2022. And there are some heads going around that are concerned about the deltoid injury that Michael Thomas ended up sustaining and had late surgery on. It could have potentially had irreparable damage, but Michael Thomas is not going to go down quiet. He's going to make as big of a push to get back as quickly as possible. I do believe he'll be here for the start of the season. So, he just has to prove to people that he can still play at an elite level. That's all it is. Barbara, what's going on with you? Good to see you, Barbara. What number of Olave gonna have? Winston got 2. I personally would like to see 88 because I think 88 will look really good on Chris Olave, but he might wear number 17 since he was 17 during his earlier years in Ohio State. We'll see what happens. I think that'll be nice. You know what I mean? So we'll just see what happens. But for right now, that is all for me. I gotta go get my meds in me, and then I go take a nap because these sinuses, they're not fun. But thank you guys very, very much for joining me for this edition of the B&G Breakdown podcast. I apologize again for being so late. But next time we will be talking about should the Saints be considered Super Bowl contenders? We will talk about that later on in the week. Hope you guys come by again to talk Saints football and Saints news, rumors, or whatever the case may be from now until the start of the season. Until next time, everybody, and as always, if you guys don't know, you will know that over here, we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. I'll check you guys out next time. And as always, in the words of TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, I will say, all I got to say is, who dat?